Hi, I'm Ian Curran, video producer for the Aquinian, and I'm here today sitting down with the editor-in-chief and managing editor of the Aquinian, asking them 15 questions. Hi guys, thank you so much for joining me today.
Glad to be here.
Okay, are we ready to get started with our first question?
Fire away.
Okay, question number 1. Can you introduce yourself?
My name is Juliana, and I'm the editor-in-chief.
And I'm Peter Jewett, and I am the managing editor.
Okay, question number 2. Where did you grow up?
I was born here in Fredericton, and I've lived here my whole life. Yeah.
I come from Lima, Peru.
What is your role in the Aquinian?
I'm the managing editor. That's my job. I'm basically Juliana's #1 fan.
And I'm the editor-in-chief.
Okay, what does your positions entail?
Oh, I jumped ahead. For me, it's mostly admin things, so paying staff, any subscriptions that we have or fees, and then also helping Juliana with edits.
I take all final editorial decisions, so for articles, we edit all of the sections, and also if the Aquinian were to get into trouble, I would have to be the one taking the decisions about that. And yeah, that's basically my job.
What is the Aquinian editorial process like?
So basically, section editors will edit the articles that they have on the Friday. Then on the Saturday, we come through and we do a second round of edits, just looking over, making sure the articles are good. And then on the Sunday, we have layout day. Maybe you want to explain what layout day is?
Yeah, so on layout day, everybody kind of comes in and we have a little bit of staggered times, but it's kind of our big group meeting of the week. And so the section editors, so that's news, sports, features, and arts, will all come in and we'll meet with them one-on-one to go over their stories. They'll read through it, and that helps when we're all three of us together usually, and you can kind of pick out some things in the editing process that you wouldn't have necessarily noticed when you were just reading it in your head. So that's kind of like our final edits, and then we schedule everything and it posts on Monday.
Okay. What is the coolest part of your job?
Working with all of the different people that we have a really fun time at our meetings on Wednesdays, our story meetings, and layout meetings on Sundays, and just getting the chance to like learn new skills and things that you wouldn't have necessarily thought you would ever try.
I like the progression of like seeing a story being pitched to how it looks at the end. I think that's one of the coolest parts of it, seeing how someone goes from an idea, how they execute, who they talk to, how it's written, and then being able to polish that and make it its best version.
Okay, now that we know the coolest part of your job, what is the hardest part of your job?
I think we talked about this before. It's probably the time that goes into it, but also there's little tedious things when it comes down to, and we don't have a ton of this, but because our editors are so good and our writers are so good, but just little grammatical things or spelling things, and we get to pull out the CP style guide and pour through it and decide, what's the right choice on this one?
No, definitely. The time, it takes time, obviously, and when you're already a student, just having a job, it's always like, it's a whole thing about time management, but I think we do pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, as you said, our editors are our best support. And yeah, I think also the most frustrating part is probably just the CP style and having the book and opening it and be like, okay, well, how do we spell that in this style?
But when it comes to time, we do try to be as accommodating as possible too, because we're all students first, and that is the priority.
Describe yourself in 3 words.
Tall, dad joke.
Short, coffee, and caring.
Aw. What makes your positions different from any other position at the Aquinian?
For me, I'm really the one who deals with, like I said, financials, so nobody else gets to handle that really. Just we're not as much in contact with like individual writers sometimes, and we don't pitch stories from week to week. Sometimes we do, but we're more so like what's the second line of defense, if you will, and kind of overseeing everything.
I think one of the key differences is that if you're a section editor, you only edit your section. We edit all the articles in every section. So we get to learn about different things, which is, it's really cool. I, for example, don't know a lot about sports in general, but when I took this position, I started learning a lot about the Tommies, about just sports in general. I still struggle sometimes, but it's so nice to have that and like read the articles and be like, okay, I need to learn more to edit better.
And that's where like the team aspect of it comes in, because where Juliana doesn't feel as strong in sports, like that's probably one of my big passions. So if she's ever feeling like, oh, how does that go, or what's actually important in this story, I probably have a good sense for that. And then oftentimes when it comes to something that's like newsy and we're like, what's really important here, what needs to be cut because the story feels long, then Juliana knows, because she has a good idea for the flow of a story and all the different parts of a story.
Okay, what is your favorite memory working at the Aquinian?
When I worked at the Aquinian in 2020, 21 or 21, 22, I can't remember, time's all a blur for me. But I worked as a radio editor, and I got to create the Aquinian's podcast, that was really fun for me. Not that I haven't had fun this year, but that was like a whole new endeavor and something that the Aquinian hasn't done before. So that's probably my favorite memory.
My favorite memory was also from not this year, but last year when I was news editor. And I remember first breaking news was Queen Elizabeth death. I just remember it was, not that it was fun the fact that she died, but it was fun to chase the breaking news in the Aquinian. Just like, you have limited time, sometimes you weren't expecting things, so it's just chasing the news, and it's very, I feel like it's an amazing experience for anyone with, like, that is, wants to do journalism.
Mm-hmm. If there was a movie made about the Aquinian, what genre would it be in, and why?
Scary, because our layouts are on Holy Cross, and Holy Cross is haunted.
Yeah, the bathrooms are definitely haunted.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I won't go any further on that. Yeah.
What would you say to writers who maybe want to write for the Aquinian but are too scared or uncertain about the process?
Oh, my first story I remember for the Aquinian. It was my first year. It was about WAP, the song. And it was bad. It was a bad article. I was very ashamed that other people read it, but I remember getting good feedback on it. And even though that article was not published, I got great feedback. And then the next time I wrote for the Aquinian, it went really well. And I fell in love with it, and now I'm the editor-in-chief. So I feel like if you're intimidated, just remember that on the other side, the people reading are other students that have been in similar situations. So they'll be very understanding. And what we appreciate about our team is that we're very willing to talk to the writers specifically and be like, hey, this is how we edit, this is what we're looking for, blah, blah, blah. And you are definitely going to improve. So don't feel intimidated. The people reading are very understanding, very good.
And I would say if you do feel that way, there's nothing wrong with having a little bit of nerves when it's your first time trying something, or something that you've wanted to do, but you just feel anxious about it. There's nothing wrong with that. But the people at the Aquinian will help you through it. And if you're honest about it, this is my first time trying this. I've never interviewed someone before, or I don't know how to write a news article. You just talk to the editors, and there's all kinds of good help around, and they'll be understanding, because like Juliana said, like we were all kind of in that point ourselves at one time. So,
all right, this is a very important question. Would you rather spend a weekend in a tropical paradise or a snow haven?
3, 2, 1. Tropical
Snow haven.
Tropical paradise.
Why?
Take me to Cancun right now. Just obviously sun, beach.
I feel very nostalgic from just the snow in general. I love snow. Winter's like my favorite season. So like, give me 45 centimeters of snow and I'll be a happy man.
I hate it. I do not have any nostalgia for it. I grew up in a place without snow. So.
Maybe when you're like, years on from now, Juliana, who knows where you'll be? Editor-in-chief of the Globe and Mail or something. You'll be in Toronto. It's not much snow there, and you'll be like, wow, I miss Fredericton where there was a little bit more snow. Maybe. You never know.
I'll miss Cancun. I've never been there. I'm missing it.
But you miss it somehow.
I miss it so much.
Okay, shifting back to the Aquinian, what is the process like of getting your job?
Well, we have applications available, so you can fill out your resume, your samples of work, and send them to us. It's very much like 2 samples of work, yes. And it's very much like any other job, really, that you would ever apply for. Of course, we would love to see examples of journalistic work. So if you have articles that you've written for a class, or for maybe even if you have a blog of your own, that sort of thing. Ideally not, academic papers or anything like that. But yeah, it's very much like applying for any other job. The people interviewing will be us and board members from the Aquinian. So,
Yeah, you send your applications to eic@theaq.net, so that's my email. And yeah, we will be reviewing that. If you get selected for an interview, we would coordinate. The interview's not too long, and it's basically for us to get to know you, get to know your decision making, your experience with journalism, and if you get the job, congratulations.
Yeah, totally. No, I mean, it's easy to feel nervous about that kind of thing, and you can always ask us ahead of time if you have any questions about filling out your application, what samples of work would be good. You don't just have to keep that all secret until you apply. Definitely reach out ahead of time if you want as well.
Question 15. What would you say to someone who aspires to be in the role that you are currently in?
I would say go for it. I always had a target of getting this job. I always had that ambition. It was my first year. I was like, I want to be editor-in-chief. And it's the best job I've had. It's honestly the best decision I've taken, and I really, really am very passionate about the Aquinian. So by all means, if you would like to be in this position, I recommend it. It's great.
For me, I never expected to be in the managing editor role up till last year, basically, when I applied. And I would say just keep an open mind, because you never know what opportunity is going to come your way, even if you really have your mind set on, let's say, sports editor. You never know if you're going to maybe go into your interview and there's 5 or 6 or 7 people who have also applied for that job. But you know what? The role of features editor is open, and you like to write about creative things and talk to people and write profiles. And maybe the hiring team will think that you're a good fit for that. So keep an open mind, and maybe a different position will kind of come along, and you could be a really good fit there, and it could be really good for you.
Okay, bonus question 16.
Oh,
Who is
okay.
your favorite video producer in the entire world?
Jacob Moore.
Jacob's pretty good.
I quit.